Americans are the most medicated, most overweight, and most exhausted people on Earth. Yet, Japanese people, eating carbs daily, barely going to the gym, live up to 12 years longer, with 1/10 the obesity rate, and almost no chronic disease. This isn't genetics, it's habits. In this video, I'll show you the 25 daily things Japanese people do differently, and how they quietly burn fat without even trying. 25. They eat rice with everything, and that's exactly why they're slim. Let me blow your mind with a contradiction. Japanese people eat rice, white rice, multiple times a day, every single day, and yet they have one of the lowest obesity rates in the developed world. How is that possible? Because in Japan, rice isn't the enemy, it's the anchor, a neutral, low-fat, low-sodium base that balances the rest of the meal. But more importantly, it changes how everything else is eaten. You see, in Western culture, we treat every item on the plate like a solo act. But in Japan, rice turns every meal into a balanced composition. A few bites of rice, then some pickled vegetables, a few more grains, then a sliver of grilled fish. It slows you down, it stretches the meal, and it forces you to chew, combine, and actually taste your food. A 2023 study by the Japan Society for Lifestyle Medicine found that participants who consumed rice as the dominant carbohydrate source had lower BMIs and smaller waist circumferences than those who relied on wheat-based staples like bread and noodles, even when the calorie intake was the same. Why? Because rice isn't ultra-processed. It's often eaten with fiber-rich sides like seaweed, natto, and miso foods that feed the microbiome and improve metabolic flexibility. And let's not ignore this. Rice in Japan is eaten in tiny bowls, never in overflowing piles. Each bite is intentional, balanced with umami-rich sides. And guess what? No butter, no cream sauces, no processed cheese. Just clean fuel. In fact, the Japanese word for cooked rice, gohan, literally means meal. That's how central it is. It's not demonized, it's respected. The result? Stable blood sugar, fewer cravings, and a cultural framework that discourages overconsumption. So, if you've been avoiding rice like it's dietary poison, maybe it's time to look east. Stop drowning your carbs in fat, and start treating them like the supporting actor they were meant to be. Because in Japan, rice isn't the reason people gain weight. It's the reason they don't. 24. They take the stairs, always, even with bags, even in heels. Let's talk about one of Japan's most underrated fitness habits that literally transforms your metabolism one step at a time. They take the stairs. Doesn't sound like a big deal, right? But in Japan, this isn't a choice. It's a reflex. Office workers in Tokyo climb 5 flights without thinking. Grandmothers in Osaka haul groceries up narrow walk-ups like it's nothing. Even school kids in uniforms and heavy backpacks march up multiple flights without complaint, and it adds up. A 2022 study by the Japanese Physical Activity Promotion Association found that habitual stair climbing contributed to up to 14% of daily energy expenditure for urban adults, with no change in diet. That's massive. Why? Because stairs recruit your largest muscle groups, glutes, quads, calves, without any equipment or gym membership. And in Japan, stairs are everywhere. Subways don't always have escalators. Most schools and offices are built vertically. Even residential buildings have narrow staircases designed for daily use. And here's the kicker. Many elderly Japanese choose stairs over elevators to train their legs for aging, a mindset rooted in the idea of Jinko no Yona Ningen, or self-propelled humans. Translation: if you can't move yourself, you're not free. This habit prevents sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss, supports joint health, and boosts post-meal glucose clearance, a big win for insulin control. And for women, it's an everyday glute sculptor. No squats, no lunges, just functional movement built into daily life. Meanwhile, in the West, we design everything to minimize effort. Escalators in malls, moving walkways in airports, elevators for two-story buildings. And we wonder why we're sluggish and inflamed. In Japan, they see physical effort as an investment, and it's not done in yoga pants. It's done in work clothes, uniforms, and yes, even kimono. So the next time you see an escalator and an empty staircase, ask yourself, what would a 75-year-old Japanese woman do? Answer: she'd take the stairs, balance a grocery bag in one hand, and keep her heart, bones, and metabolism firing like she's 30. Step by step. Literally. 23. They drink soup with breakfast. And it's not weird at all. You want to kickstart your metabolism. Forget smoothies and protein bars. In Japan, breakfast often starts with a bowl of miso soup, hot, savory, gut-healing liquid that rehydrates the body, wakes up digestion, and provides real satiety without any blood sugar spike. And no, it's not just miso. Breakfast soups in Japan might include clear dashi broth with mushrooms, egg drop soup with seaweed, or even vegetable-based soups enriched with wakame and tofu. Think about that. While we're chugging iced coffee on an empty stomach and wondering why we crash by 10 a.m., they're feeding their microbiome and balancing electrolytes before even checking their phone. Miso soup, in particular, contains fermented soybean paste, full of probiotics, trace minerals like zinc and copper, and umami compounds that tell your brain, hey, we're nourished. A 2022 study from the Japanese Society for Gastrointestinal Nutrition showed that individuals who consumed soup at breakfast had improved leptin sensitivity and reduced midday cravings compared to those who ate dry breakfasts like toast or cereal. That's the hormonal code we're all trying to hack with supplements. But Japan cracked it centuries ago. Soup slows the meal, warms the core, and supports detox pathways through hydration and digestion. And because it's liquid-based, it supports gastric motility, meaning you feel lighter, not bloated. Plus, it's usually paired with rice, grilled fish, and pickles. Small portions, big satisfaction. This combo of warm liquids and fermented foods, first thing in the morning, helps explain Japan's low rates of IBS and bloating-related complaints, even in older populations. So if your breakfast leaves you foggy, jittery, or hungry an hour later, it's time to ditch the sugar bombs and learn from Japan. Start with soup. Warm, savory, full of life. And suddenly, your entire morning metabolism will operate like a Japanese bullet train. Smooth, fast, and right on schedule. 22. They clean like it's a cardio session. And it is. Let's set the scene. A Japanese housewife in Kyoto isn't just wiping a counter. She's in a full body flow, bending, stretching, wringing cloths by hand, scrubbing floors on her knees, no mop in sight. Because in Japan, cleaning isn't a chore. It's movement therapy. And yes, it counts toward weight management in a big way. According to a 2023 report by the Japan Society of Home Economics, Traditional cleaning methods in Japanese households, like tatami mat wiping, futon flipping, and window washing, burn an average of 200 to 350 calories per session. That's equivalent to a light jog. And it happens daily. There's even a cultural concept behind it, Sekatsu Katsudo, or life activity, which treats physical daily tasks as essential to vitality and metabolic health. And it's not just about the home. Schools in Japan don't hire janitors. Students clean classrooms, bathrooms, and hallways as part of a daily routine that teaches respect, responsibility, and you guessed it, caloric output. But let's go deeper. Cleaning in Japan is meditative. It's mindful. It's often done in silence or with light music. No earbuds, no distractions, just full engagement. This mindfulness activates the parasympathetic nervous system, reducing cortisol levels while increasing calorie burn. It's a weight loss 2-for-1 deal. And guess what? It's gender neutral. Japanese men also clean, especially in newer generations where dansari, a minimalist cleaning philosophy, is considered manly and wise. So before you write off scrubbing as low-effort movement, remember this. In Japan, it's a daily calorie torching, stress-reducing, joint-lubricating ritual, one that keeps waistlines slim and homes serene. Don't just tidy up, clean like your life depends on it. Because metabologically, it kind of does. 21. They use their lunch break to walk, not eat at their desk. 21. They use their lunch break to walk. You ever see those people in the office who scarf down a burrito in front of a screen and wonder why they're always exhausted? Yeah, that doesn't happen in Japan. In Japan, lunch breaks are sacred, not just for eating, but for moving. It's common for office workers, even in tight schedules, to spend 10 to 20 minutes of their break taking a brisk walk around the block, up and down the stairs, or even through a nearby shrine or park. This isn't just for fun, it's strategy. A 2023 study by the Japanese Occupational Health Institute found that workers who walked for at least 10 minutes during lunch had lower post-lunch glucose spikes, improved digestion, and reported higher afternoon energy levels compared to those who remained sedentary. Let me repeat that. They walk after eating to stabilize blood sugar. It's like a natural Ozempic. The practice is so normalized that many companies actually encourage it. Some even provide step-tracking incentives. And here's the twist. The meal itself is usually light. A bento box with rice, fish, pickles, and vegetables, clean, anti-inflammatory, and designed to leave you energized, not comatose. So when you pair that with even 15 minutes of low-impact walking, you've got a metabolic win. And this doesn't stop with workers. Students in Japan also walk after school lunch, usually outside, sometimes while doing simple group stretches. It's called shokugo no undo, post-meal movement, and it's deeply tied to digestive health, something traditional Kampo medicine has emphasized for centuries. No fancy hacks, no fat burners, just the combination of real food and a real walk. So the next time you finish lunch and feel your eyelids getting heavy, don't reach for coffee. Reach for your shoes. Go outside. Walk like you've got somewhere to be, even if it's just around the block. Because in Japan, they don't wait for the gym to burn calories. They use the minutes no one else thinks matter. And that's why their bodies work better. 20. They drink before they eat. And no, it's not wine. It's hot tea. And it's strategic. Here's something Western nutrition completely ignores. Timing your fluids. In Japan, they don't just sip tea because it tastes nice or comes free with sushi. They drink it before meals on purpose to prepare the body for digestion, regulate appetite, and support weight control. And I'm not talking about throwing back a glass of ice water while shoving in a cheeseburger. I'm talking about warm, herbal, or roasted teas. Green tea, genmaicha, roasted barley tea, served about 15 to 30 minutes before food as a kind of metabolic pre-game ritual. Why? Because these teas stimulate gastric juices without flooding the stomach. A 2022 clinical trial from the University of Tokyo found that subjects who drank 200 milliliters of hot green tea 20 minutes before meals consumed 12% fewer calories during the meal and experienced a 27% reduction in postprandial after-meal blood sugar spikes. That's massive. And it's not just about calories. It's about how your body processes them. Warm fluids increase blood flow to the digestive tract, helping the stomach prepare for food, while catechins in green tea modulate insulin response and aid fat oxidation. Compare that to chugging a cold soda with dinner, which shocks the gut, dilutes enzymes, and causes bloating. Japanese culture teaches that tea isn't a beverage, it's a bridge, a physiological and psychological shift from one state to another. Think about it. When you walk into a Japanese home or restaurant, you're often greeted with tea before anything else. It's their way of grounding the body, signaling it's time to slow down, absorb, and digest. Even elderly Japanese who have lower appetite or digestion issues are encouraged to sip warm tea first. It wakes up the gut, as they say. And the result? Fewer cravings, better portion control, smoother digestion, and a metabolism that actually works with your food instead of panicking halfway through. So before your next meal, skip the water, skip the wine, go Japanese. Heat up some tea, take a few slow sips, and tell your body, get ready. Something good is coming. It's not just polite. It's metabolic precision. 19. They use bento boxes, and they're engineered to make you eat less. Let's talk about one of the greatest weight loss inventions that doesn't come from Silicon Valley or a celebrity chef. It's the humble Japanese bento box. You've seen them, those neatly arranged, compartmentalized lunch boxes filled with small portions of fish, rice, pickled vegetables, a tamagoyaki rolled egg, maybe a cherry tomato or two. But here's the secret. It's not just pretty. It's psychologically engineered to prevent overeating. In fact, bento culture is a form of portion control disguised as art. A 2023 study from the Japan Society for Nutritional Psychology showed that people who ate from sectioned containers consumed 18% less food on average than those with a single large plate, simply because the brain perceives a complete meal more quickly when there are multiple flavors and textures in small amounts. That's right. Your brain says I'm full faster when the food is segmented and visually diverse. It's called sensory-specific satiety, and Japan's been using it for centuries. But it goes deeper than that. Bento boxes are typically filled with 5 elements: a protein, a carb, a pickled or fermented item, a boiled vegetable, and a raw garnish. This isn't random. It's based on washoku, the traditional Japanese philosophy of nutritional harmony, which teaches that meals should balance 5 colors: red, green, yellow, white, black, 5 flavors, and 5 cooking methods. When your meal hits all those sensory notes, you feel satisfied faster and longer. And here's a crazy fact. The average bento meal contains only 500–700 calories, yet people walk away feeling completely nourished. Why? Because you're engaging your senses, chewing slower, and eating intentionally. And for weight loss? That's gold. Japanese parents make bento for their kids, not just to feed them, but to teach balance. Workers eat bento in silence, with attention, and there's pride in the presentation. Some bento are so artistic, they look like they belong in a gallery. But it's never about indulgence, it's about equilibrium. So if your meals feel chaotic, oversized, or monotonous, learn from the Japanese. Shrink your plate, balance your flavors, and let form follow function. A bento box isn't just lunch. It's a masterclass in mindful eating. They eat pickled vegetables with almost every meal, and it's a detox system you can taste. You want to talk about daily detox? Forget those overpriced green juices and Instagram colon cleanses. In Japan, detox happens bite by bite, through something so small it almost looks decorative, tsukemono, or pickled vegetables. But don't underestimate them. These aren't your grandma's sour cucumbers. Japanese pickles include daikon radish, ginger, eggplant, plum umeboshi, turnip, and even burdock root, all fermented or salt-cured to perfection. And they're not just condiments. They're biochemical warriors. A 2022 meta-analysis from Tokyo University found that regular consumption of tsukemono significantly improved gut microbiota, diversity, reduced markers of systemic inflammation, and enhanced bile production, critical for fat digestion and liver detoxification. Let that sink in. These tiny garnishes are quietly cleaning up your insides every single day. And here's where it gets even better. The fermentation process unlocks enzymes and probiotics that you can't get from raw vegetables alone. Unlike the pasteurized pickles you find in Western supermarkets, most Japanese pickles are alive, still fermenting in small batches, loaded with lactobacillus and bifidobacteria strains. These support digestion, increase nutrient absorption, and regulate bowel movements. Translation: less bloat, better regularity, and more nutrient bang for your food buck. Japanese culture includes pickles, not just for flavor balance, but because they're considered essential to shokai, or digestion readiness. You'll find a few slices served alongside breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And yes, they even eat pickled plums in the morning to stimulate the liver and awaken the blood, according to traditional Kampo medicine. The taste is intense, salty, sour, pungent, but that's the point. It activates your palate, stimulates gastric juice, and signals the body that real food is coming. Think of it like a digestive pre-roll. So if you're walking around bloated, irregular, or sluggish, you don't need a supplement. You need a side of tsukemono. Start with a few slices of pickled daikon or ginger. Add it to your breakfast or lunch. Eat it slowly. Let it work. Because in Japan, pickles aren't an afterthought. They're the quiet guardians of gut health. 17, they squat all the time, and it's not even called exercise. Let's get something straight. In Japan, people squat constantly, but they're not counting reps. They're not in leggings. And they're definitely not filming it for Instagram. They're just living, waiting for the train. Squat. Gardening. Squat. Cooking at a low stove. Picking something off the floor. Talking to a child. Or even going to the bathroom. Squatting is built into daily life. And it's not accidental. It's cultural ergonomics. A 2023 study from Kyoto University's Department of Gerontology showed that habitual squatting in daily life, not just at the gym, preserved quad strength, ankle flexibility, and balance in older adults, far more effectively than structured gym workouts. That's wild, because this isn't a fitness routine, it's a lifestyle. Traditional Japanese homes are designed for floor-based living. Sitting, sleeping, and eating often happens close to the ground. That means getting up and down dozens of times per day, which engages the entire posterior chain and keeps joints supple. Think about how often most Westerners do that. Maybe twice a day, if that. And let's not forget toileting. Squat toilets are still common in schools, parks, and older homes. While it may sound primitive, the squat position aligns your body for easier elimination and better colon health. It's not just efficient, it's therapeutic. And even modern toilets in Japan often include footrests or built-in support angles that mimic the natural squat posture. It's all part of the system. Squatting supports pelvic floor health, improves circulation to the lower body, and even boosts lymphatic drainage. And when you do it dozens of times a day, it becomes your baseline. That's the magic. No sweat, no timer, just functional, biomechanical movement baked into daily life. So if your knees ache, your back is stiff, and you feel disconnected from your lower body, squat more. But don't call it a workout. Call it Japanese living. 16. They eat fish in the morning, and it completely resets metabolic rhythm. Western breakfast is a disaster. Donuts, sugary cereals, orange juice sugar bombs. But in Japan, they start the day with fish, grilled salmon, mackerel, even sardines or dried whitebait, served with rice and miso soup. And if you think that's weird, keep listening, because it might be one of the best metabolism hacks on Earth. A 2022 study from the Osaka Institute of Nutrition found that consuming omega-3 rich fish within 90 minutes of waking up improved lipid metabolism, reduced post-breakfast insulin levels, and promoted fat oxidation throughout the day, especially in women over 40. That's the hormonal jackpot. And here's why it works. Fish protein is highly bioavailable, meaning your body absorbs it efficiently with minimal waste. It's light, satisfying, and thermogenic, which means it takes more energy to digest, keeping you fuller longer and reducing cravings later. Pair that with steamed rice, pickles, and miso soup, and you've got a breakfast that stabilizes blood sugar, floods your body with minerals, and activates the gut. Meanwhile, the omega-3s in fish, EPA and DHA, improve cellular communication, brain function, and anti-inflammatory signaling. That's not breakfast. That's biological strategy. And the timing is key. Eating fish in the morning front-loads your day with slow-burning energy and essential fats, giving your metabolism a running start before stress, screens, or snacks throw you off course. Japanese kids grow up eating this way. Elders still eat fish for breakfast well into their 80s and 90s. It's normal, it's expected, and it's one reason why Japan has lower rates of insulin resistance, even with a higher carb intake. So if your breakfast makes you crash, snack, and spiral by noon, maybe it's time to ditch the toast and try some fish. Your body will adjust fast, and your waistline, it'll start to adjust too. 15. They always eat with others, because eating is a social contract, not a solo sport. Let me hit you with a truth bomb. Japan doesn't just eat food, they share it. And that subtle difference changes everything. In Japanese culture, eating is a communal act, tied to manners, mindfulness, and emotional regulation. You rarely see people eating alone, and when they do, it's still done with structure and grace. Whether it's a family dinner, co-workers gathering around bento boxes, or kids lined up in school cafeterias, food is meant to be eaten together. And this isn't about being polite. It's about staying healthy. A 2023 study from Nagoya University followed over 12,000 adults and found that those who regularly ate meals with others had significantly lower rates of obesity, binge eating, and depressive symptoms compared to solo diners. Why? Because shared meals slow you down. They keep you accountable. You're less likely to overeat when someone's watching, or even just sitting nearby. Plus, there's a built-in pause between bites, because of conversation, observation, or ritual. And get this, Japanese school children serve each other lunch, eat facing their classmates, and clean up together afterward. It's a full-circle food education model that connects eating to community, gratitude, and self-regulation. In the West, we've normalized solo meals in cars, desks, or bed. That kind of isolation is a breeding ground for mindless eating, emotional snacking, and digestive chaos. Japan says, slow down, look around, share the moment. Even the Japanese word itadakimasu, said before meals, literally means I humbly receive, a nod to the people, land, and effort behind every bite. That changes how you chew, swallow, and stop. In short, social eating turns meals into rituals, and rituals prevent overconsumption. So if you want to eat less without tracking a single macro, sit down with someone, share a table, share the silence, share the food. Because in Japan, eating alone isn't just lonely. It's risky to your waistline and your soul. 14. They eat until they're almost full. Then they stop, and it's taught in preschool. Let's break down one of the most legendary Japanese habits, hara hachi bu. Heard of it? It means eat until you're 80% full. Not stuffed, not satisfied, just gently full, with a little space left in the tank. This isn't some modern fad. It's a 500-year-old Okinawan principle that's become the blueprint for Japan's portion discipline and exceptional longevity. And here's the wild part. It's not just advice. It's drilled into kids from the time they can hold chopsticks. Preschool teachers lead chants about hara hachibu. Parents model it at home. And the result? An entire population trained to recognize the early signals of satiety before the gut screams stop. A 2022 study published in the Journal of Appetite Regulation found that adults who practiced 80% fullness eating had better leptin and ghrelin balance, meaning they actually retrained their hunger hormones over time. Imagine reprogramming your body to crave less by just stopping a few bites sooner. It sounds simple, but it's powerful. Most Westerners eat until the plate is empty, or worse, until the body is uncomfortably full. That pattern spikes insulin, taxes digestion, and triggers fat storage. But in Japan, meals are served in small dishes. You eat slowly, you chew thoroughly, and you listen to your stomach like it's a wise old sensei. No calorie counting required. Even traditional Japanese sayings reinforce this. A full belly shortens your life. Leave a little hunger in the stomach, and the doctor will go hungry. It's not restriction, it's rhythm. A way of harmonizing intake with energy, season, and need. The practice of hara hachibu has been credited with Okinawa's world-renowned population of centenarians, many of whom remain slim, spry, and independent well into their 90s. So if you want an easy, no-tech way to start losing weight today, try this. Serve less, eat slowly, and stop when you could probably keep going. Let your body finish the sentence, not your plate. That little gap, that 20%, is where Japanese health begins. 13. They eat seaweed every day, sometimes with all 3 meals. Here's a weight loss superfood most of the world ignores, but Japan eats like a staple. Seaweed, not as a rare sushi wrap or fancy garnish, but as a core food group, consumed in dozens of varieties, textures, and preparations daily. Wakame in miso soup, kombu in stews, nori wrapped around rice balls, hijiki mixed into salads, even seaweed-infused snacks and teas. And this isn't cultural quirk, it's nutritional genius. Seaweed is one of the most mineral-dense foods on Earth. A single serving can contain more iodine than a week's worth of iodized salt, plus magnesium, potassium, calcium, fucoidins, anti-inflammatory compounds, and a special fiber called alginate that literally binds to fat in the gut and prevents it from being absorbed. A 2023 clinical trial from the National Institute of Health and Nutrition in Tokyo showed that daily seaweed consumption led to a 7.4% reduction in abdominal fat in overweight adults over 12 weeks without changing exercise routines. That's insane. And here's why it works. The soluble fibers in seaweed swell in the gut, increasing satiety and slowing glucose absorption. That means steadier energy, fewer cravings, and a flatter belly. Seaweed also nourishes the thyroid, your body's metabolic control center, thanks to its iodine content. And in traditional Kampo medicine, it's used to soften hard masses, which includes fatty deposits, fibroids, and even plaque buildup. You'll even see seaweed in baby food and hospital meals in Japan. It's that foundational. So how do you bring this into your life? Start with wakame in soup. Sprinkle some nori flakes over rice. Or add dulse to your salad. It's salty, chewy, and strange at first, but your gut and waistline will adapt fast. And if you're worried about heavy metals or contaminants, know this: Japan has some of the strictest seaweed quality controls in the world, and most commercial varieties are lab-tested and safe. In short, seaweed isn't a trend. It's an edible multivitamin with weight loss side effects, and the Japanese have been bathing in its benefits for centuries. 12. They eat soup after meals, not just before, and it clears the metabolic slate. Here's a curveball. While many people are familiar with drinking soup before a meal to aid digestion, which the Japanese do too, most people don't realize that in Japan, it's equally common to finish your meal with a small bowl of hot, salty, enzyme-rich broth. That's right. Post-meal soup is a thing. And it's not dessert. It's damage control. Whether it's a second serving of miso, a clear dashi broth with scallions, or a thin egg drop soup with seaweed, this ritual does 3 things. It slows digestion, balances fluid retention, and scrubs the palate clean, both physically and hormonally. A 2022 paper from the Japanese Society of Endocrinology found that ending meals with warm broth helped regulate postprandial blood glucose and reduced late-onset cravings by activating stretch receptors in the stomach. That means you feel satisfied for longer, without needing something sweet. And the salt? In small amounts, especially when paired with potassium-rich ingredients, like kombu or tofu, it actually supports hydration and fluid balance, instead of causing bloat. In traditional Japanese dining, the meal structure is light, heavy, light. You start with soup, you eat the main dishes, and you end with, guess what? More soup. That soft landing cools the nervous system, tells the body we're done, and prevents the kind of post-meal crashes that lead to snacking. Even school lunches and convenience store meals often include this double soup format. It's not random, it's metabolic engineering. So if your meals leave you foggy, bloated, or craving sweets, don't reach for a cookie. Reach for soup. Again, a small hot bowl of umami-rich broth to wrap up the meal, settle the gut, and put your appetite to bed. Because in Japan, soup isn't a side, it's the closer. And it finishes the job your food started. 11. They go to sleep early. And not just for rest, but for blood sugar control. Let's talk about one of the most underrated fat-burning habits in Japan. They go to sleep early, not just because they're tired, but because they understand something we often ignore. Late nights wreck metabolism. In traditional Japanese households, bedtime starts creeping in around 9:30–10 p.m. And by 11 o'clock, the lights are off. Why does this matter? Because studies have shown that even a 1-hour delay in bedtime can increase next-day hunger hormones, like ghrelin, by up to 14%, while reducing leptin, the satiety hormone, by nearly 18%. A 2023 study from Tokyo Metropolitan Institute of Gerontology confirmed that Japanese adults who maintained a consistent early bedtime had lower visceral fat, better insulin sensitivity, and more stable fasting blood glucose compared to those with erratic or late sleep patterns, even when diet was the same. That's right, sleep timing alone can shift your metabolic fate. And here's something else. In Japanese culture, screens are often removed from the bedroom. Phones are charged in the hallway. TV stops after dinner. And many people wind down with warm baths, low lighting, and even foot massages before sleep. It's not just about duration, it's about quality. And deep, dark, unbroken sleep supports the liver's detox cycle, improves cortisol balance, and supercharges mitochondrial function, aka your internal fat burners. In Okinawan longevity communities, they follow the sun, up at dawn, down after dinner. It's not ancient woo, it's biological alignment. If your weight won't budge despite eating clean and moving more, maybe the issue isn't calories, maybe it's clocks. Try this. Set your phone down at 8:30. Start your wind down routine. Get in bed by 10 p.m. sharp. Do that for 5 nights, and watch your cravings, belly, and energy levels shift. Because in Japan, sleep isn't just rest, it's medicine. And the earlier you take your dose, the better it works. 10. They use small bowls, and they don't go back for seconds. There's a quiet psychology behind every Japanese meal, and it starts with the dishware. In Japan, everything is small. The rice bowl fits in one hand. The miso soup bowl nestles neatly in the other. There are no massive dinner plates, no cereal bowls big enough to bathe a puppy in. Why? Because in Japanese food culture, the container controls the behavior. A small bowl creates an automatic limit, a visual cue that says, "This is enough." And here's the magic. They don't refill it. That single portion is all you get. In the West, we dish up huge servings and then still go back for more. But in Japan, one bowl of rice means one bowl of rice. A 2023 study, published in the Japanese Journal of Health Psychology, showed that participants who used traditional-sized Japanese dishware consumed 17% fewer calories per meal without feeling deprived because the meal looked complete, even if the portions were smaller. It's not trickery, it's design. And it works. This habit taps into what behavioral scientists call unit bias, The tendency to think 1 unit equals 1 serving, regardless of size. Japanese culture capitalizes on this by making the default unit small. So when you eat 5 little dishes, rice, pickles, grilled fish, tofu, and vegetables, you feel like you had a feast. But in reality, you just consumed half the calories of an average Western meal. This also explains why Japanese tableware rarely matches. Each dish is its own visual experience, adding variety, slowing you down, and making you savor each bite. And there's no pressure to clean your plate, because there is no plate. Just small vessels that naturally portion your food. Want to eat less without trying? Downsize your bowls. Serve yourself in stages. Don't refill. That tiny bowl isn't just tradition, it's appetite architecture, and in Japan, it shaped slimmer bodies for generations. 9. They eat with all 5 senses, because satisfaction isn't just about fullness. Let's talk about something you almost never hear in Western nutrition: sensory saturation. In Japan, meals are designed to stimulate sight, smell, sound, texture, and taste every single time. And this isn't some foodie affectation, it's strategic. Because when your senses are fully engaged, your satiety signals activate faster, and your likelihood of overeating drops like a rock. A 2022 neuroscience study from Kyoto University showed that participants exposed to high-sensory meals, colorful, aromatic, texturally varied, experienced earlier activation of the insular cortex and ventromedial prefrontal cortex, brain regions that signal fullness and satisfaction, compared to participants eating bland, monochromatic meals. Translation: the more senses you use, the sooner your brain says, "I'm good." Japanese cuisine is built around this. Think about it. You have the crunch of pickled daikon, the soft silk of tofu, the snap of grilled fish skin, the whisper of steam rising from miso soup, the citrus aroma of yuzu peel. Even how it's served matters. Dishes are arranged for color harmony and height variation. Meals look like art, feel like ritual, and taste like balance. Compare that to a Western meal that's beige on beige on beige. Mac and cheese with bread and fries, and it's no wonder we keep eating. Our senses are bored, so we chase more stimulation through quantity instead of quality. But Japan, they flip the script. It's less food, more sensation. Even the act of pouring soy sauce, dipping sashimi, or unwrapping a rice ball creates micro moments of sensory engagement. It slows you down and fills you up without overeating. Want to try it? Start with 1 meal a day. Add color, add crunch, add aroma. Use real dishware. Light a candle if you have to. Make it a show. Because in Japan, fullness doesn't just come from food. It comes from experience. And your senses are hungrier than your stomach ever was. 8. They don't drink calories, because liquids aren't for filling, they're for balancing. Here's a hard truth that Japan figured out decades ago. Calories in drinks don't register the same as calories from food. Your brain doesn't detect them. Your body doesn't compensate, and you end up with extra energy you never needed. That's why, in Japan, the idea of drinking juice, soda, or even high-calorie smoothies with meals is borderline unthinkable. It's not cultural. It's metabolic. And it's everywhere. You'll rarely see anyone drinking anything besides tea, water, or a tiny serving of sake with food. Even vending machines, which are ubiquitous in Japan, there's one for every 30 people, are loaded with zero-calorie green teas, black coffees, and unsweetened barley infusions. Not supersized sodas, A 2023 study by the Japan Public Health Association found that over 87% of Japanese adults consume fewer than 50 calories per day from beverages, compared to over 400 calories daily for the average American. That's a 350 calorie daily swing, enough to explain 10 to 15 pounds of body fat per year. And it's not just about sugar. Even healthy drinks, protein shakes, oat milk lattes, fancy fruit juices don't provide the chewing, the satiety, or the digestive activation that solid food does. They slip under the radar of your hunger signals. But in Japan, beverages are seen as support, not substance. Green tea cleanses the palate. Barley tea cools the system. Soup rehydrates. That's it. And when people do drink something caloric, like amazake, a fermented rice drink, it's usually in tiny cups, sipped slowly, and considered a meal, not a chaser. Want to shed weight without touching your plate? Stop drinking calories. Ditch the smoothies, skip the oat milk, and switch your habits to what Japan has done forever. Drink to balance, not to fill. Your metabolism will recalibrate fast, and your cravings will start to disappear. They eat standing up in shrines and festivals, but never at home. This one's a paradox, and a brilliant cultural boundary. In Japan, eating while standing is actually common in specific places. Train station ramen stalls, street food festivals, or outside shrines during seasonal celebrations. But here's the catch. It's never mindless. These are sacred zones of indulgence. They mark exceptions, not routines. In homes, schools, and even most offices, eating is seated, structured, and focused. That distinction prevents food from becoming a 24/7 background activity, which is one of the leading causes of overeating in modern environments. A 2022 behavioral study from Tokyo University found that people who regularly ate while seated and undistracted consumed 19% fewer calories per day than those who often ate while walking, driving, or watching TV. But the twist is, Japan does allow food to be fun, just in controlled spaces. At a shrine during Matsuri festival, you'll eat yakisoba or takoyaki, standing in the open air. You'll enjoy it. You'll savor every bite. But when you're done, you stop. You bow. You leave. There's no snacking mindlessly on the couch or grazing in front of a computer. That cultural boundary trains the brain. This is food time. That is not. Western culture blurs that line. We eat in cars, in elevators, at gas stations, in meetings while texting, while scrolling, and our waistlines pay the price. Japan's sacred food in sacred spaces approach keeps indulgence joyful, but limited, so take a page from them. If you want a treat, make it deliberate. Eat it in one spot. Savor it. Then stop. Ritual over routine. That's the difference. 6. They walk after dinner. Not because it's trendy, but because it's tradition. You've probably heard by now that walking after meals helps with digestion and blood sugar. But in Japan, this isn't a wellness hack. It's a national habit. After dinner, you'll see elders strolling around their neighborhoods, couples walking quietly through parks, and even solo walkers doing komorebi, a term that means watching sunlight filter through leaves. It's peaceful, it's sacred, and it's science-backed. A 2023 longitudinal study from the Japanese Diabetes Society tracked over 6,000 adults and found that those who walked 15 to 30 minutes within an hour after dinner had lower A1C levels, reduced visceral fat, and improved triglyceride profiles, even with no other changes to diet or exercise. This isn't a brisk, sweat-inducing power walk. It's gentle, rhythmic, and digestive. The idea is to support qi flow, the energetic circulation through organs, while calming the nervous system and preventing glucose spikes. In Campo medicine, nighttime walks are believed to cool liver fire, reduce stress, and enhance sleep. And guess what? It works. People who walk after dinner in Japan sleep better, eat less later in the evening, and maintain flatter bellies over time. Even in urban areas, walking paths are built into residential zones to support this nightly ritual. Meanwhile, in the West, we eat, collapse into a couch, binge Netflix, and wonder why our guts feel like war zones by bedtime. Want to change your health trajectory with one move? Start a 20-minute post-dinner walk. No phone, no goal, just movement, digestion, and maybe some moonlight. It's how Japan resets the body before rest, and it just might be your secret weapon. 5. They don't weigh themselves. They watch their waistline, literally. Here's something you almost never hear in Western fitness culture, where we're obsessed with numbers on a scale. In Japan, most people don't regularly weigh themselves, and they definitely don't track every pound like it's the stock market. Instead, they focus on how their body feels and looks, especially around the waist. Why? Because belly fat, not weight, is what really matters for health. And Japan takes this so seriously that they literally measure it at the national level. Since 2008, Japan has had a government-mandated policy called the Metabo Law, where adults aged 40 to 74 get their waistlines measured during annual health checkups. If their abdominal circumference exceeds 85 centimeters for men or 90 centimeters for women, they're offered nutritional counseling, exercise support, and follow-up visits, not punishment but guidance. A 2023 review in the Journal of Preventive Health Systems showed that this policy led to a nationwide reduction in visceral fat levels and metabolic syndrome rates, without focusing on weight loss per se. Why? Because the number on the scale can lie. You can be light but inflamed, insulin-resistant, and metabolically wrecked. Or you can weigh more but have strong organs, balanced hormones, and a healthy gut. Japanese health experts know this. That's why traditional wellness wisdom teaches, don't count pounds, count how your waistband fits after a meal. Japanese people also tend to wear fitted clothing, not spandex or stretchy waistbands, so they feel when they're overeating or retaining water. It's a daily, real-time feedback loop, and it works. Instead of letting a cheap piece of plastic dictate your mood, your self-worth, and your choices, they let their own body awareness guide them. So if you've been stressed over the scale, try going Japanese. Toss it in the closet. Focus on how your pants fit, how your gut feels, how your energy holds throughout the day. That's real weight management. Because in Japan, numbers don't define your health. Balance does. 4. They wash their rice meticulously. And it changes everything. Here's a microscopic detail with a massive ripple effect. In Japan, rice is always washed, not rinsed. Washed. Multiple times, until the water runs clear. And it's not a superstition. It's a science-backed, daily detox protocol, hiding in plain sight. When rice is harvested and processed, it's coated in starch dust, pesticide residue, and even microscopic heavy metals, especially if grown in polluted regions. Japanese households have known this for centuries, long before anyone had a lab coat. So they wash rice vigorously in cold water, sometimes as many as 5, 7 times, kneading it with their hands, draining and refilling the bowl until the water is nearly transparent. A 2022 study from the Tokyo Institute of Environmental Sciences found that proper washing reduced arsenic, cadmium, and residual pesticide levels in rice by up to 60%, while also lowering the glycemic index of the cooked grain. That means fewer blood sugar spikes, less gut inflammation, and a lower toxic load, just by rinsing better. Most Westerners dump rice into a pot and boil it without a second thought. But in Japan, the washing ritual is meditative, intentional. It's called togi shiroi, and it's often passed down from grandparents as a skill of care, respect, and health protection. And guess what? The texture changes too. Washed rice is fluffier, cleaner tasting, and easier to digest. Combine that with small portions, mindful chewing, and balanced side dishes, and it's no wonder white rice isn't making anyone fat over there. It's literally clean. So if you're eating rice often and wondering why it bloats you or spikes your blood sugar, maybe the problem isn't the grain, it's the preparation. Go Japanese, wash it, touch it, respect it. Because sometimes detox doesn't come in a supplement bottle. It comes from your faucet and your fingertips. 3. They air out their bodies by literally exposing skin to sun and wind daily. Let's talk about something so subtle it almost sounds silly, yet it's a daily practice in Japan that quietly boosts metabolic health. Karada no kuki ire, airing the body out. Every morning, especially among elders and traditionalists, you'll find people opening the windows, sliding open the shoji screens, and standing in natural light, shirt slightly open, sleeves rolled up, letting the morning air touch the skin, sometimes for just 5 minutes, sometimes while stretching, sometimes while sipping tea. It looks poetic, but it's actually biological gold. This daily practice is a compound stack of circadian alignment, thermoregulation, and skin microbiome health. A 2023 study from Kyoto University's chronobiology lab found that exposing skin to natural morning light and air improved vitamin D synthesis, normalized cortisol rhythms, and enhanced thyroid hormone sensitivity, all of which directly impact metabolism and fat burning. But it goes deeper. Traditional Japanese medicine sees the skin as an excretory organ, a boundary between inside and outside. Letting the skin breathe in open air, especially first thing in the day, is believed to release stagnant energy, balance internal moisture, and prevent stagnation in the lymphatic system. Modern science is starting to agree. Just 10 minutes of skin exposure to natural air can reduce stress markers, stimulate blood flow, and even regulate skin pH, which in turn affects immune balance and fat cell signaling. No wonder Japanese people look so vibrant without obsessing over skincare routines. This habit is quiet, simple, cheap, but it stacks. So tomorrow morning, before you check your phone or turn on the news, open a window, expose your forearms, neck, and chest. Breathe. Let the air in. Let the light hit your skin. Let your body wake up outside in. Because in Japan, detox isn't always about taking something out. It's about letting nature in. 2. They treat digestion like sacred work, especially after the meal. You finished eating. Now what? If you're in the West, maybe you go back to work, or scroll, or lie on the couch. In Japan, that's when the real health habit begins. The post-meal digestive window. What happens after you eat is considered just as important as the food itself. There's even a term for it in Kampo medicine, Go Shoku no Kea, or care after eating, and it's brilliant. After a meal, Japanese people often take a moment to sit upright, breathe slowly, sip warm tea, and allow their body to begin digestion undisturbed. No slouching, no rushing, no immediate physical exertion. That calm 15-30 minutes post-meal allows the parasympathetic nervous system to take over, stimulating peristalsis, optimizing enzyme function, and promoting full nutrient absorption. A 2022 study, published in the Journal of Asian Gastroenterology, found that people who rested quietly for 20 minutes post-lunch had 29% better nutrient uptake, lower bloating scores, and improved insulin response compared to those who returned immediately to activity. And the Japanese don't just sit. They often repose. Think light stretching, sipping hojicha, roasted green tea, sitting in seiza, formal kneeling posture, which naturally aligns the spine and compresses the digestive tract in just the right way. There's a subtle spiritual element here too. After food, you give thanks not with words but with stillness. A moment of harmony with the body. Think of it as the metabolic cool down, a way to let the engine process what you've fed it without distraction. In the West, we treat digestion like a background process. In Japan, it's front and center. Want better gut health? Want to feel full longer? Want to absorb more nutrients without pills? Don't rush post-meal. Protect that window. Let your body work. It's smarter than you think. 1. They treat eating like a craft, and never eat the same meal twice. This is the master habit, the invisible thread running through everything else. Japanese people rarely eat the same exact meal 2 days in a row, and this is no accident. It's a deep cultural commitment to variety, seasonality, and adaptive metabolism. While Western diets tend to revolve around rigid meal preps, chicken, broccoli, brown rice on repeat, Japanese meals are fluid. Even the same miso soup is different every day, based on what vegetables are available, what's left over, what's in season. A 2023 analysis by the Japan Dietetic Association found that the average Japanese household consumes over 100 different food items per week, compared to less than 35 in the average Western home. That's nearly 3x the microbial exposure, enzyme variation, and nutrient diversity. Why does this matter? Because metabolic flexibility, your body's ability to adapt to different inputs and switch between fuel sources, is one of the strongest predictors of long-term weight stability. When you eat the same foods over and over, your gut flora stagnates. You start absorbing less. You trigger food intolerances. Your cravings increase. But in Japan, meals change daily, even hourly. Breakfast might include salmon and pickles. Lunch could be soba noodles and tempura. Dinner might be tofu, miso soup, and sweet potato. Different textures, different microbes, different nutrients. The body never gets bored. The brain never burns out. And cravings, they don't show up because everything is satisfied. This is more than diversity. It's an art. Japanese cuisine prizes balance over repetition. No food is a villain. No food is sacred. The rule is this: eat what the body needs, and change it frequently. Want to embody this habit? Make one change. Never eat the same dinner 2 nights in a row. Rotate proteins. Rotate veggies. Rotate broths, grains, spices, and temperatures. The more varied your plate, the more resilient your metabolism becomes. That's the Japanese secret. Not just what they eat, but how creatively they eat it. Every day, a new composition. Every meal, a chance to recalibrate. Every bite, a lesson in balance. That's not just weight loss. That's mastery. If even one of these habits surprised you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit like, share this with someone who needs it, and if you want more real-world health breakdowns that actually work, subscribe and turn on notifications. Japan's not doing magic, they're just doing the opposite of us, and it's working.